Chapter 7. Our Friends the Doctors. Arthur says, "Ever since the beginning of my work, I have had to fight the doctors. They have treated me as a quack, which, of course, I am, from their point of view. They believe that a man is like a motor car, and they are its mechanics. One doctor did ask to watch Arthur work." Arthur says, "Well, the doctor climbed up into my little bug hutch and wanted to see me put the lad under. He also watched me put Alice to sleep in a chair. He seemed to be very interested, especially when I told him that the power I had was a much better anaesthetic than anything he could find in his bag. He tested this by bending Alice's fingers back and also by sticking needles into her body without hurting her at all, or even drawing blood." Another doctor witnessed Arthur controlling the heart rate of a subject named Bob, whom he then levitated up from the floor on his heels, like the handle of a rake would rise as someone stepped on the prongs. The doctor intervened and treatment was interrupted. Alice had diagnosed the problem as alcohol, and Arthur's powers had kept Bob out of the pubs without treatment. However, he relapsed. The last time they saw him, he revealed in trance a vision of a big figure 8. 8 weeks later, Bob died. Chapter 8. Conclusion. Arthur writes, "This little book is a record of progress. It is not a claim, it is a statement of fact. I do not teach a theory or preach a religion. Why should I? Who 10 years ago knew nothing of these things, and who now knows a little? Suppose that today's knowledge is more complete than it was than 10 years ago. The power is like the lightning, for no one knows when it's coming or where it will strike." Now follows a dozen letters of testimony supporting Arthur's healing powers. I have met people who know Arthur Spray, some whom have related their own experiences of healing by him. Alarmingly, this has included Arthur's ability to cure cataracts by licking them off. There are some other clues from an archive at Bexhill Museum. These are mostly letters asking for appointments or for healing or reporting back, with results ranging from no improvement to miraculous cures. There are letters from Francis J. Mott, who visited Arthur in Bexhill in late 1934 and early 1935 and sent him proof copies of the book. One letter concludes, "With kind regards to Daisy," whom, by the way, I am calling Alice in the book, that confirms that she did exist, but no surname is ever given, so Alice or Daisy's identity is unknown. A letter from J. Green, dated the 30th of the 11th, 1935, describes in detail a visit with Eileen to Dr. Alexander Cannon for mediumistic healing, but they are not impressed and suggest it may be fraudulent. Mr. Sidney Ocock's Honourable Principal of the British College of Psychic Science writes to Arthur on the 11th of the 9th, 1936, to organise appointments for him at the college at 15 Queensgate, Wembley, Hampstead. There is a grimy sheet of plain paper with random sentences and words handwritten in shaky script. This might be an example of automatic writing while in hypnotic trance, and perhaps the work of Alice. The Bexhill Observer on the 24th of the 2nd, 1961, reports on Arthur's passing. It says, "Spray, on February the 24th, Arthur passed peacefully away in his sleep at his home, 33 Salisbury Road, aged 70 years of age." There's an article in the Bexhill Observer on the 15th of the 8th, 1981, by Rex Salter, entitled "Oh Spooky." He comments, "Arthur, who died 20 years ago, was a striking-looking man with dark, penetrating eyes and a heavy black moustache, an appearance which, together with his reputation, led to him being termed Spooky Spray by the local juveniles. I personally knew Bexhill people who were ready to swear that Arthur had cured them of rheumatic and other complaints. This solicited letter in the Bexhill Observer, the 5th of the 9th, 1981, by P.A. Hodgkinson, says, "As a former patient of Arthur Spray, I was much interested in Rex Salter's article. When working as a cobbler, Arthur's surgery was partly over my father's cabinet-making workshop in Station Road. At that time he worked closely with a niece who had mediumistic powers and was a useful collaborator. On one occasion, after he had moved his surgery to Salisbury Road, his niece suddenly asked him to get ready for the victims of an accident. Shortly afterwards, a man was brought in who had been in a traffic accident in Town Hall Square. The prophetic knowledge by the niece was purely psychic. His niece predeceased him by many years, but he continued his work in this country and sometimes on the continent. Had he lived in an earlier period or a more rustic location, Arthur Spray might have been seen as the local cunning man, or, if from a different culture, perhaps as the shaman. A seaside resort in the mid-20th century seems incongruous, but with a witch trial in Bexhill in 1780, and a resident, king of the witches, in the 1970s and 1980s, Arthur was not the first nor last mysterious Bexhill resident. Without his autobiography, Arthur's historical footprint would be very light. This begs the question of what other missing mystics are there out there which have been overlooked. We should all do our best to look out for references to these fascinating characters in the archives, as I am sure that there are many more to be discovered. Julian Porter, Curator, Bexhill Museum.